The first speaker is somebody that I've known from the community for a little while. He's been part of the Kubernetes community for quite some time at many different companies that he's had. So he's been a big fan. He's also speaking at KubeCon. We call this a KubeCon warm-up. And so you can catch him at Database as a Service, Database for Devs Day, I think. I should know that I'm speaking there too, at KubeCon on one of the Day Zero events. But we're super lucky to have him kicking off our KubeCrash Take 4. All right, Eddie, let's promote Eddie up to the screen.
All right, Eddie's in.
Thank you, Eddie Wassef. We'll back out and let you take it from here once your camera starts working.
Awesome. Is my camera up? Everybody see me?
No, we don't see you.
So we see Ed. Whoop, you were there.
We have, and thank you to our ASL interpreter also. We want to give a big shout out to Catherine also for being part of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group. And so we are involving in a big way many members of that group. And so thank you to our interpreter and to all those that have joined us.
Now, I'm just going to ask for some backstage help because, we're live. I can see Eddie, but Lisa can't. So I need a thumbs up from our background. Dave, and Sophia, you can see Eddie. Great.
And how about from like somebody out in the...
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Or Phelan or Jeffrey, or can we get a thumbs up from somebody out there? Can you see Eddie or us?
So I can hear y'all, and can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure everybody can see you, and I'm waiting for confirmation from somebody in the audience. Yep. Anyone?
Oh,
We can't see Eddie.
David said we can't. Eddie is
okay.
We're getting a yes, we're getting a no. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna take ourselves out and comment if David.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. Thank you. And thanks for joining from Kenya and Brooklyn and India, and oh my gosh, this is amazing. Canada, Brazil, Malaysia, oh wow, Italy, Virginia, shout out to Cairo, oh my gosh, Sweden, wow, Denmark, this is amazing. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna back out and let Eddie take it from here.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Lisa. Welcome, everybody. Shout out to my Cairo folks, Egyptian folks. I am originally Egyptian, so it's really cool to see folks from all around the world. So starting off, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to KubeCrash Fall 2023. It's pretty exciting. I mean, it's everybody here is remote. Everybody is able to connect, and it's really an exciting time to even be a developer. Right? Whether you're working on mobile apps, whether you're working on websites, on self-driving cars, on generative AI, on IoT, on space tech, on backend applications, on everything. Technology is moving so fast, it's not slowing down. I mean, things are changing, things are becoming accessible to us, and it's not fatiguing anytime soon. Right? The cloud and the edge is also really starting to blur. When I started working in software, I used to tell people, you know what, it works on my machine. I don't know what to tell you, sorry. Well, now that's not an excuse because they just tell me, pack up your machine, put it in an OCI image and ship it over. And that's really what technology can do. It democratizes things that used to be a niche, things that you could only get if you were the company that had the biggest sales force or the best marketing team or the most money. But now, with open source, things are being democratized, and something breaks that niche, and 5 or 6 other fast followers come in, and they really push the envelope where it's really the merits of the software. It's really cool. And, Kubernetes is absolutely one of those. It's probably the poster child for democratizing technology. Creating clusters and managing deployments and failure domains and upgrade domains and progressive delivery used to be something that was very, close to, certain companies kept it very close to their own secrets, and it was something that was bespoke, to be honest. But now it's standard, and I would dare say it's been simplified quite a bit. Kubernetes also was the first project in the CNCF, and the CNCF has really been a fertile ground for dozens of projects and dozens of standards that have pushed and changed the way that we work as developers and architects, but also the way that we've consumed technology every day. It's really exciting. So Hello, my name is Eddie Wassef. I'm VP and Chief Architect at Vonage, which is part of the Ericsson family of companies. And at Vonage, we strive not only to connect your traditional communications like voice, video, and text like we are today, nor is it just the advanced network capabilities like network slicing, quality of service, location APIs, or silent off, but we're taking these traditional one-way, notifications, these some people might even say spammy, messages, and turning that into a conversation, right? And it's more than just making it back and forth. To take a notification, make it a conversation, you really need to add context. You need to give it some memory. You need to give it some security around it. And then we take these conversations and we give them to our customers, to y'all, right? That's our tagline. We change notifications into conversations. And then you can take these conversations and you turn them into a delightful user experience, or you turn them into a sale, right? Or you turn them into a de-escalation of a situation that if it had been left longer would have become a big issue. But because you have that context, it really has de-escalated. So connecting things to one another is part of the Vonage DNA. We've been doing it for what, over 20 years now. We started with voice over IP. You can plug a USB stick into your computer and get a phone line anywhere in the world. And the world is getting more connected, right? And it's more contextual than ever before. It's not just a network cable or connectivity from one end of the world to the other. There's a lot of context that's being added. And again, Kubernetes is at the forefront of this, and you see it everywhere you look. And I'm sure you look past a bunch of them that you don't even know are there. If we think about it, your local grocery store has a Kubernetes cluster in the back, right? It's making sure that all the point of sale systems are in sync. It's managing the self-checkout. It's checking the inventory levels. It's making sure the online orders are in sync with everything else. It's crunching the numbers, detecting patterns, figuring out when we need to get more apple juice, or we need to order another batch of cucumbers, or whatever it is that's running low on stock. And it's making sure that all that's reported up to the mothership via the cloud, right? And it's saving that uplink, so it's not a ton of data. Your drive-through, right? A lot of fast food chains now, they're trying to be fast. They've got people out in line waiting at your car with tablets. In that tablet, it's connecting to an edge cluster back in the store. And that cluster is making sure that the fryer is keeping up with the amount of orders coming in, and that the rush for breakfast, lunch, or after work, that's anticipated, so they can start getting more things going, because at the end of the day, it's fast food. It needs to be fast. But it's not just that, right? It's your airport, your hospital, your retail store, your warehouse, your industrial machines, your military machines. There's a cluster everywhere, right? And they're not running a giant cluster and managing all these systems. Absolutely not. They're really putting clusters everywhere now. And a lot of that is because of us, the consumers, right? We are very demanding. And I don't know about y'all, but I'd be at the airport and I'm standing there looking at the incoming plane. I've got my phone in my hand and I'm sitting there swiping down, waiting for that door to open to see that it showed up on my app. And if it doesn't, if the door opens and people walk out and my app hasn't updated, I'm upset. And I'm going to give them peace of my mind, right? Or you're walking out to get a cup of coffee and you order from the app. You see the store right there, but you're ordering on the app, and you expect by the time you get in there that coffee is waiting for you and you can just take it and walk out. So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is governments and compliance bodies and customers and competitive markets. Really, they are pushing for a lot of high availability, high resiliency systems that you have to use distributed applications for, right? So sometimes you have to keep your applications and your data within the sovereign boundaries of the country. Sometimes you need to make sure that you are very close to your partner so that the data doesn't traverse too far and you have a latency issue, for example. The other things where you need to be compliant, right? You need to have availability because you're critical infrastructure. And so you can't have a system go down and you wait for a failover. You have to have active in different places, and sometimes in different outside of storm paths. It's really, all of this is really pushing things into that I would say, distributed multi-instance world. And at Vonage, we have to adhere to ISO, HIPAA, SOC 2, PCI, GDPR. All those different compliance things have requirements that you need to be available, resilient, and in multiple locations. We integrate with 1,600 telco providers, right? And because we're a tier 1 network, we need to be where the telcos are in a lot of cases. And we need to provide video and voice, like we're seeing here today, at the lowest latency. We need to bring it to the customer so that there's no jitter. So I'm not talking, you hear me before my video gets there. You know, and we need to make sure we give our customers 4 nines of availability. Now, you can't get 4 nines if you are in one place. It's just simply not possible. Most common is 3 nines in one place. So you have to start compounding your SLAs, which means you need to have your application deployed in more than one 3 nines region, so you can get that 4 nines. You know, and so we connect folks together, right? We let someone in some part of the world connect to someone else in another part of the world, and whatever channel they choose. So we live and we breathe multi-cluster deployments, and you know, we've learned a lot, we've embraced it, and in some cases we love it. I love it personally. And you know, if you think about it, seems daunting, right? Sometimes to say, look, you've got a fleet of clusters, you've got all these applications, you need to deploy it, and you need to deploy them every couple of weeks, every couple of days even, because the customer or a crazy chief architect is asking you to do so. But you know, if we look at what's available and we embrace the DevOps patterns and some of these open source tools, it really becomes very simple. Now, at Vonage in particular, we love GitOps. You know, GitOps is a flavor of DevOps that uses Git as the main state store. And we use it for everything we can, whether it's creating clusters or creating routes or creating application deployments. Heck, we even use it for creating group membership. Anything that we can put in a GitOps repo, we're going to try to put it in there and use that, because it really does invert the complexity. It lets you scale in a way that's you know, linearly scalable. For example, if you look at, imagine it's 1 is your deployment divided by X, which is the number of targets you want to deploy to. When you have 1 or 2, that's manageable. But as you start increasing 5, 10, 15, that return really starts diminishing. That fraction starts getting huge. GitOps flips it upside down, right? So you now have X divided by 1. 1 is your source, X is the number of targets. You can keep increasing that, and it's going to linearly increase. So there you go. I just mathed GitOps, and well, you can't argue with math, right? But let's unpack that, right? Let's think about it for a second. So GitOps is really defining a repository that has your state store. It says, this is how I want whatever it is to be deployed, to be installed, to be configured. And then your target, your cluster, your application is pulling from that location. So it's one configuration that you need to do, and now you've got a single state store for that. If there's any drift, if somebody messes with something, if the cluster goes away, when it comes back, there is a state store and it can reconcile itself. Now take that and now add the second cluster, add the third cluster, add the 10th cluster, add the 100th cluster. You're not changing anything in the repo. You're doing the same configuration on each cluster, which is a very simple and repeatable task, which makes it prime for automation. That makes it where you can scale almost infinitely, right? Let's say you want to change all those clusters, you want to upgrade Kubernetes, or you want to upgrade your security policies. You go to that one place, that one repository, you open a pull request, and you merge that into the mainline. Now, instead of having to do them linearly or scale as much as your CI/CD CPU could let you, you are letting all of them in parallel pull at the same time. And now all your clusters are being updated, and they're ready to go within minutes. What happens if there's a mistake? Well, you go to your repo, you pull a PR up, and you revert the change that broke the code. And in a few minutes, you're back to where you were. You're back and stable. So it's amazing, and it really is very powerful. And at Vonage, we're taking that to the extreme. We're going with a micro cluster segmentation model. We allow every domain or every team, and in some cases, every application to have its own cluster, and they can put it wherever they want to put it. Our customers can put it wherever they want to put it. Right, and so this gives them a cluster that has the same tools, it has the same capabilities, it has the same management, whether it's a 3-node dev cluster or a 100-node production cluster, it's exactly the same. It's very little overhead on the platform. So what does that do? That gives you the ability to reduce your blast radius, right? If something goes bump, which it happens, you are restricted to whatever that segmentation was. You can also put the code where you need it to be. Let's say we traditionally put them all in a few places, but now we have a need to put a very, specialized deployment of this service somewhere. We can do that. We can create a smaller cluster, put it over there, and link them together, and it works just fine. But I think most importantly, it gives our teams the ability to experiment, right? And they can fine tune their applications and really get the best value out of their code so that we could pass that along to our customers. And they don't have to worry about being a noisy neighbor. We don't have to worry about creating all of the limits and all of the boundaries and all the things around it so that they aren't a noisy neighbor and affecting anybody else. So really, it's been very, very rewarding for us, and we love it. Now, thankfully, we have not had to invent any of this. Nothing that we've done here is really proprietary. It's all based on open source. It's all from vendors that we're going to talk about today that are really going to simplify it. And keeping with the theme of the conference today, we're going to spin a thread. And that thread is going to take us from clusters around the world on different clouds in different continents. And we're going to show you how enterprise users and enterprise companies can really get the most out of a multi-cluster deployment. We're going to show you how you can manage your complexity on there, you can manage the cost on there, and you can make sure things are safe and secure. And we're going to create clusters using Kubernetes Cluster API, and we're going to show you some of the vendors that have mastered it and how easy it is for you to do that. We're going to overlay an amazing network mesh on top that's safe and secure and repeatable. We're going to create bi-directional communication with guardrails around it to make sure nothing is out of the ordinary or we accidentally open something up that we're not supposed to. And then finally, we're going to add data on top of that and really show you the value of being able to have safe, resilient, and secure data that's globally distributed as we move one of the apps from one of the clusters to another continent on another cluster, all in real time. So stay tuned. It's going to be a really fun and exciting day. It's going to be exciting for Kubernetes. It's fun. It's going to be exciting for all of the open source products and for the cloud native community as a whole. And thank you for listening. And Lisa and Danielle, back to you. I do hope I was not talking to myself last 20 minutes, have I?
No.
There we go. Okay, good.
Oh, oops. But we can't hear you right now, Eddie.
You can or cannot?
Now I can hear you.
It's cutting.
I love these live things, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. It's real.
But then it just went quiet.
Everybody's kids and pets are hanging out, listening, learning about open source and multi-cluster deployments. My dog has listened to me rehearse this so many times. He's in his kennel setting up a multi-node cluster, trying to work some Gen AI to get the trick to treat ratio worked out for him. It's great.
Amazing. Okay, we'll duck out now. Sorry to have interrupted you. I wanted to make sure everybody could continue to hear you.
No worries. No, I'm done. I'm back to you.
So maybe that's why it went quiet. We have so for everybody, we have two things happening. So first of all, Eddie, thank you. I love the message on connectivity, and I love your examples around, every time you're going to your app and you're ordering your thing, and it's Kubernetes. It resonates. Whenever I describe that to my mother, she's like, "What do you do? What's this cube thing?" I'm like, "Well, the app you use, it's probably that's the back end." So love the message of what you were saying. If there's any questions, I see lots of nice talk, thank you, nice presentation, great energy. The trick or treat room, that's you.
Yeah, the trick to treat ratio. I'm sorry, I'm never gonna forget that. I love that so much.
Absolutely. You got to prioritize it, right? Everybody's got their own priorities. That's my dog's priorities right there.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any questions.
Wait, are we looking in all the right places? Sorry, we have so many different windows open and so many different places. By the way, if anybody is still over in the earlier reception, when we went live, we needed everybody to click the stage button. So people are still making comments on the other side too. Okay, I'm gonna start calling people out. Move over to the stage thing. Nice talk, funny jokes, by the way, from the other chat. Yes, Nikhil, this is being recorded, and things will go live. Catherine can probably answer that of when they will go live, but the team has historically been very quick at getting the talks live after the fact. And as I mentioned in the beginning, there's on the KubeCrash.io, you can go click on past events and you can see all the KubeCrash talks, almost all. We had an amazing talk by DoorDash once, and we didn't get that one, the rights to put that one up because it had a logo or something. But I think every other KubeCrash talk, including great talks from Chick-fil-A and Boeing, and we've had so many awesome companies. So you can look back on the other ones, and you can also, these ones will be live probably in a few days. And Catherine is reminding everybody to use the stage chat. But there is a question: is there any reference architecture documentation that Eddie can share with us?
So we do have a developer blog and a kind of a higher level architecture on our website, vonage.com. You can navigate there. You can also go to developer.vonage.com and see a lot of reference architecture around our different APIs and our different products as well.
Awesome. Well, Eddie, thank you so much. I'm excited. We'll have your awesome talk on our site as well. So really appreciate your time this morning. And
thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to remove you.